Have you ever wanted to do a handstand? A couple things go into play. Where your hands are, where your elbows are, where your body's lined up. So let's just talk about little bits and pieces. Real short. Hands, we're going to want to turn them in. Elbows are going to want to be facing inward. The hard part about it is most of the time when people do that, they want to take their hands and then want to turn them out. We're going to drive them solid and we're going to turn the shoulders all by themselves. We're also going to make sure that the abs are nice and tight. In order to do that, we've got to learn to engage them. So let's start off with a real simple basic of actually setting your spine to neutral. A real simple way to do it is if you feel like you've got really good posture, most of the time people's back is on real tight. And so that's difficult because if it's on firing constantly, then you're going to overextend or feel like your feet are going to flop back behind over your head as you actually go into a handstand. A lot of times it can actually even affect overhead movements because your back fires a little too hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the rib, the bottom rib, all the way down into your hip and we're going to close that gap. So imagine you've got your stomach all the way open, okay? Abdominals are completely stretched out, all the way elongated, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten them up, and it almost feels like you're kind of almost caveman-ish, tucked in, butt squeezed, abs squeezed. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab onto this bar right here, and I'm gonna actually keep my feet close to it, and I'm gonna draw my belly button in, and I'm gonna lean back, and I'm gonna stretch out that lower back just a little bit. This is actually a really good position to stretch on to help set your spine to neutral to begin with, and all the way up. Okay, we can also use a little bit of assistance, maybe a foam roller. I'm going to use a medicine ball, and I'm going to squeeze my adductors as I do it. I'm going to squeeze my belly button in, and I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to squeeze the medicine ball in order to reset my pelvis just a little bit and stretch my lower back muscles. Good. It's a great stretch for lower back. Take your time doing it. It's really good to do if you've actually maybe done a little bit of foam rolling to release the lower back and actually extend those tissues. Great stretch that I've learned. And it'll help to reset your pelvis and now give you this nice straight lined up position versus being overextended. Now let's go ahead and move into what we'll actually end up doing when we get down onto the ground. So what we're going to start off with is making sure that we've got a nice parallel position, and we're going to start off with a real simple parallel. Palms of your hands are down on the ground, and get your elbows to the point where they feel like they're actually snug in towards each other. So if I'm setting up, I want my elbows not to start rolling out, but really to start kind of almost driving in towards each other, almost like my elbows are on the ground trying to force each other together, and we're going to go into what's called the dolphin, okay? And so my feet are going to be back behind me, and I'm going to put the weight over the top of my hands. I'm going to start practicing how strong my shoulders are just by holding myself in this position. Because if this is difficult to begin with, it's going to be very difficult to go into your handstand. So this is your first position to help. And you can practice by bringing one leg up and engaging that midsection the same way you did a second ago. Drop it down on the side and hold. Once you practice that about 5 times on each side, you'll get to a point where you feel like you can hold it a lot longer and you'll be able to kick your legs up just a little bit, okay? So practice that a few times and then try for kicking up one time. You can try with a wall right behind you if you'd like. In the end, you would want one leg to come up slowly, draw your belly button in, and hold nice and tight. Practice this position first before you start going onto your hands. And what you'll get is a lot of the scapular stability and core awareness and strength in order to be able to start going onto your hands. When you finally go onto your hands, you want to get to a point where you can actually focus on one spot. Now to begin with, you can look at right about where your index fingers are. So if I'm on the floor and my index fingers are lined up, I want to pick a spot where my eyes look at right there. You'll notice that the position of where your eyes are actually going to change what happens in your pelvis. It's actually called the pelvo-ocular reflex. So if your eyes move, your pelvis is going to do something. Take note of that, and what you'll notice is you'll pick different spots, either slightly higher or slightly lower, and little tiny increments will change what's happening in your midsection. Your brain's registering all of that. So we're going to start off with a real simple cue. I'm going to look right across the middle where my index finger is, and I'm going to smack dab right in the middle. If I need to move it up or down, I'll do that very slowly. I'm going to put my hands down on the ground, Feet together, knees together, and let's see if we can get this on the first one. Elbows forward, chest over the top of my hands. It should feel like you've got almost all of the weight over on top of the shoulders, and your arms are ready to push away from the ground. That's your handstand. One piece at a time, lots of little thoughts, lots of practice, little tiny things that you get aware of or become aware of as you're doing it. You'll start feeling your hands, you'll start feeling all the little muscles, you'll start feeling what your eyes are doing, whether your abs are engaged, whether your feet are pushing up away, or whether your elbows are rolling out, and whether or not you're pushing firmly up away from the ground, up into the sky. I hope you enjoy getting better at your handstands. Have a great day.